What's
What's
up?
up, Nikki?
Oh, snap. Here we go. Episode 17, Chokes and Consciousness, is
We're
very
back
special.
with Nikki.
Very special guest. Very special moment that we're having for our Chokes and Consciousness episode 17 because this is our very first guest of our pod, Miss Nikki May.
Welcome,
Round of
Nikki.
applause. Hi, Nikki.
Hello.
Yeah. Nikki has been gracious to join us on a little consciousness journey with, her friends first slash teammates second. So I went ahead and made that our title. If it's the other way around, too bad, Nikki. It
No, it's
is.
good. It's good.
Yeah. Okay, well, to get us started, like Nikki, we've been talking about Nikki since like day one, you all. So you finally get to, have a voice and a face or to the name that we've been talking about. So Heidi, our goat,
For sure.
she's got a lot going on right now, as we have mentioned, with the new space and all that stuff. However, not to be on any kind of minimal level, Nikki was a solid number one outside of Heidi.
Thanks.
Michaela came up with this.
Yeah. Yeah. After morning class, I was talking to you and I was like, hey, I think Nikki would be a great first guest. We made it happen.
I was gonna say it's weird because I'll talk to you guys about something and then I'll hear it on the podcast. You've already recorded it, and then I'm like, wait a minute. It's very serendipitous. It's so weird.
That is kind of weird.
But-
Because we probably have the same conversations before.
Right. Right.
We do. We do.
Yeah. I mean, but we talk about the same shit, Jiu-Jitsu, all the time.
Well, that's true. And food.
And food.
Jiu-Jitsu, food, life challenges. What are we getting through? And random fun. We're all about fun and random non-facts, as Nikki likes to fact check us every week.
Can't help it.
About something.
Can't help it.
Yeah, what was it, the other one? Bears?
No, I didn't do anything about bears.
That was Steve. You fact checked us. Well, you fact checked me about my own spirit animal. Like you, like you're not a Doberman. I was like, whoa. We settled on a pity, but I appreciate, your opinion. It wasn't even an opinion. Actually, you said it like it was a fact. Like that's not
it's
me.
A fact. It's definitely a fact. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely opinion, but
it's all right. Okay, well, I was gonna have something written down for a grand introduction, but here's one just like off the top. Obviously, welcome, Miss Nikki May. We appreciate you being here. So we're gonna be getting into a whole bunch of stuff. Nikki's journey, our journey with Nikki. Nikki's out here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Masters for
a couple more months.
All right, Masters 4.
Yeah.
Brown belt, ground theory practitioner. Like we said, fact checker, connoisseur. Spiciest redhead on the ground theory mats.
Probably the only one.
Lockdown master. Yeah. Child wrangler when need be.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to do the kids class at first. It took a while for them to talk me into it because that was my literal job for 28 years. And I was like, I don't think so. So then I finally did it. Love it. It's better than teaching on it, like teaching classes, because then you can just be like, I don't have to write evaluations. I don't have to do shit. So I just go.
Yeah. We don't want none of the fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that. 28 years. That's a long time.
preschool and kindergarten for 28 years.
Dang.
So.
So that's kind of what, maybe sparked, like I said, sparked a little bit of our Zen talk. So since Nikki is our first guest, we're still going to continue our same format, as Nikki, our number one listener, does know our format and layout. Both Michaela and I are going to be getting into some questions, while Nikki is going to also join us for our Zen talk, which is going to be in regard to, obviously, we got some energy going on over the last week, and just in general, as Michaela and I, our episodes have been lining up with the energy of everything.
We feel the energy. We're just feelers. So we know what's going on before it goes on.
Yeah. Maybe a little too real and accurate for some people, but they need to hear it. Yeah. So last week we were talking about karmic portals. Clearly there's some energy going on. Clearly we need to figure out what to do to get out of some old patterns and whatnot. And a lot of people struggle, including myself, with uncertainty. Nikki has gone through some uncertainties, as we all have, and also in regard to training and her jiu-jitsu journey. So we want to get into that for our Zen talk and redefining yourself in the face of uncertainty. But first, before we even get into our interview, we always do a check-in. Michaela and I got to check in on one another. Nikki, you're here, so we're going to check in general. But first, Michaela, we'll have you start it off, and then Nikki chime in.
All right.
How's the week overall been treating you?
It's been pretty good. For me, it's been a good week. Just been working on the gym and lifting and doing jiu-jitsu, and that's about it.
Okay. Productive training.
Yeah. Just staying busy. I've just been pretty busy lately. Haven't been thinking about much, just working.
Okay. Nikki, how are we doing this week? What have we been up to?
A lot of working. But well, just hanging out at KU during basketball games, which is chaos for my work. But other than that, it's pretty good. I had some weird vertigo thing on Tuesday, so I didn't train that day, didn't lift that day, but so I lifted on one of my other rest days instead. But it's just been kind of a weird week. Just I don't know if Tuesday was like a pre-stress. I don't know. Tuesday was rough, but doing much better at the end of the week. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what we like to hear. Finish out the end/beginning, since we're technically recording on a Sunday night.
Right.
Strong. Now I hear you. You weren't there on Tuesday, but Michaela and I were training last Tuesday, and energy was thick. I think a lot of people were feeling some ways, whatever you had going on, obviously collective energy and individual energy. So definitely an interesting week for sure.
Mm-hmm. How are you doing? How you feeling? Right?
I think I am. I think I've been feeling okay. Obviously, in light of things, I've kind of hit this. I've hit a little bit of an internal stride, you all. Your girls out here really just in my go with the flow.
Nice.
Like on the mats, on my murderous flow, like whatever happens is going to happen. But I'm locked in, present, just accepting of things, and accepting of my individual control and movement. And I think I've been pretty energetic about it over the week. That's where I've been.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah. Also been in the gym trying to help out. Was there earlier a little bit, taking off all those metals off the wall.
Yeah.
Doing a little spackling, but still some stuff to get done on that front. But it's coming along.
Yeah, I was at the old gym for the Sunday open mat, and I'm like, it's crazy to look around and go, it's still got a lot of stuff going on, but it's starting to feel emptier, And I'm pretty excited for the new space. So
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited too. I can't wait to get over there.
And hey,
sure.
we only have realistically like 2.5 more weeks before
Yeah,
we
that's
have
what
to
I
be
was
able.
thinking of. I was thinking about Thanksgiving cooking, and then I'm like, wait a minute. Heidi wants us to be over there by Thanksgiving. That's not far.
Dang.
Whoa. Well, I mean, I guess that's actually because Thanksgiving is actually a week later than it typically would be. So that technically is the last weekend.
Yeah, you're right.
She doesn't want us to have to work on Thanksgiving weekend, so that's fair.
Dang.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, foot to ass.
Right?
Do your assignment that you're assigned. Hey, also, I'm going to say it. Y'all missed out on the chocolate scones. They're still over there. So she told me to let y'all know like how good they were, and they were good. I didn't have the cranberry kind. You already know, picky, but the chocolate chip.
Nice. I'll get one tomorrow. They better be there tomorrow. I'll be mad if they're not.
Yeah, cookies too. She had some what vegan oatmeal raisin. Not my jam.
It's like raisins don't belong in cookies, so no thanks.
Dang, did Michaela just side eye you? Do you like raisins and cookies?
I mean, yeah, I like everything. I wasn't trying to side eye you, Nikki. My bad.
I saw it. No, I would side eye if you said raisins belong in cookies, because I'm like,
I mean, they're
no,
not bad though.
it's not bad, but it's not it at the same time.
Yeah. Hey, chocolate is it?
Yeah.
Always, always. Like, how do you mess up a chocolate cookie? Like, what would you have to put in it? Banana, personally.
Carob instead of chocolate? Not okay.
What is
I don't
that?
think I've had that.
Carob is like some healthy chocolate thing. I don't know.
Ew.
It was a thing when I was a kid, and they're chocolate chip cookies. They're not. Don't believe it. It sucks.
It's not it.
Mm.
Not all chocolate chip cookies are the same. Like, you can taste, like, like all like store-bought chocolate chip cookies aren't the same. Like, there's a difference between, what is it? Like like, I'm a Chip Ahoy, eh, eh, you know. But if you get like some of them like store-bought brand chocolate chip cookies that just like taste like processed,
Mm-hmm.
they're
That's
all
not it.
hard. Okay, here's the real question. Soft cookies, crunchy cookies, in between. How do you like your cookies?
Raw.
Okay,
Raw.
okay. I mean,
All right.
wasn't
I
an
like a
option,
nice
Nikki,
gooey.
but okay.
I like a nice gooey cookie, but yeah, I almost always will make cookies, eat the dough, then maybe bake whatever. But
Okay.
Do you make your
but
own dough?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I don't believe in store bought stuff.
That's
Don't
fair.
hate on the slice
Yeah.
and bakes.
I just can't do it. It's
What do
just as
you
easy.
mean?
It's just as easy to
Nestle?
make them. It's just as easy to make them.
It's not just as easy.
Yeah, it is. But
They're already made. You don't have to mix them. It takes out a step. It's just not even slice and bake. They're already in the cookie form. You just got to pick them up and put
oh
them
yeah,
on the
now they
pan.
have those. So those I'll put in the freezer, and then I'll just go grab one and eat it the way it is.
You need those packs of like they sell the packs of cookie dough.
Yeah, they do. I get them every once in a while,
I know you would.
but but not to bake. I'm not gonna bake them.
I don't think you can bake those.
Yeah, they say eat them raw or baked on the side.
I didn't know that.
Because they're gone before you get them home.
Okay. Okay. One more question about it. With chocolate chip cookies, with milk or without? Do you dip or do you drink the milk afterwards if you do use milk?
I would dip if I was having milk, but I don't
You
drink
would
a
be a
lot of the
dipper.
milk. I don't drink a lot of milk, but yeah.
What do you do, Deja? Do you dip?
No,
Clearly
only
not.
Oreos. Only Milk's favorite cookie. Oreos are meant to be dipped.
Did I tell you last weekend, we went to the store and Ron bought a whole pack of cookies and a pint of milk, and they were raisin oatmeal cookies. He was just eating those and drinking milk.
Wow.
I don't know
That's
how many glasses he downed while we were watching UFC.
I bet that stomach did not feel good later.
Probably not.
Bubble guts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that sounds like. Yeah, no, like, are you a dipper? Yeah, wait, no, yeah, Nikki is a dipper. You would be a dipper.
Not really.
Do you like to dip, Michaela?
I don't usually drink milk with my cookies. Usually it's coffee. Like, I'm a coffee drinker with something sweet.
Interesting. Like, I had to think, I had to process that because I was like just biscuits, like Triscuits or something. I don't know. I just can't imagine like coffee outside of like a donut
and a cookie. That's fire.
A lot of people do it. I mean, the youngest one here, but it's a lot of old people do that. It's like my mom always likes to get a cup of coffee and put a little cookie next to it.
Interesting.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe I need to try cookie and coffee.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just like to chug. Like, I don't drink the milk all the time. Like I said, if I have Oreos, I don't want to just like eat plain Oreos. I want the milk, and I want to be able to dip the milk. And I'm only going to have double stuffed Oreos.
Yeah.
Because it's the perfect ratio of cream to like milk when you dip it. You get a little bubble. Don't dip it too long to where it's soggy. Like part of the cookie like falls off. Like that's not it. But you get a little bit to saturate the cream and soften the cookie just a little bit.
You're a picky eater, and it's hilarious.
Shit's good though.
Yeah, it is.
You know, yeah. See, chocolate chip cookies are too prone to like break off in the milk, and then when I'm trying to chug the milk at the end, texture, it's disgusting.
You can't do
to me,
cookie in your milk.
To me, that's good. It's like a milkshake almost.
I don't want my milkshake with chunky bits of cookie. Milkshake it's not supposed to be chunky.
Do you like going to Sonic and getting like a Reese's Blast? Do you like candy chunks?
Those are all right.
All
yeah.
Right, so
well, no, not well, like Reese's, or because I eat it with the spoon. Like I don't want to suck up. You know what I mean? Like so that's a shake, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The way they make them, I'm not sucking it up with the straw. I'm gonna eat it. So it's more like a bowl in a cup. I can't help it.
That's all right. I get you. I get where you're coming from. Yeah. You just can't suck things up.
Not my strong suit. Yeah. All right. Well, sweet. With that, we'll get into some more food, questions as we move along. So, with that said, let's dig into Nikki.
Yeah.
Excited to have her here. I know I got some questions pulled up. Michaela's got some questions. So we're just gonna pop it off before we go.
All
right. So Michaela, do you want to get us started?
All right.
You want me to start? What's your preference?
It doesn't matter.
All right.
Nikki, what got you into Jiu-Jitsu? Or first, when did you start? Like, what year did you start?
I think it might have been 2015. I can't remember. It's been almost 10 years for sure. Nice. I was in karate for a long time, but when my coach left, I didn't want to go to what I call black belt factory. And when he taught us throws and some ground stuff. And I was like, man, if only there was like a jiu-jitsu or judo gym around here, I would totally get into that instead. Because he moved away. I don't know. I was really interested in it. And then just kept hoping to find something, never found anything. And then one day, one of my friends, you know how Facebook, even back then, Facebook had weird things. It's like, so and so likes, and it was so and so likes Lawrence Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I'm like, wait, what? So I click on it, sent a message to the page. Matt answered back. He's like, come on in on these days. And I'm okay. And off I went.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dang.
Nice.
Okay. Well,
so Facebook got me.
Facebook got you. Well, going like so segueing into or branching off of that, you were already in karate. So I was gonna ask if you like what initially got you into training jujitsu? Like what were kind of like the influences? Like did you just know of judo and jujitsu when you were doing karate? And like I guess even going back further than that, how did you even get into karate?
Yeah.
Well, because I have ADHD and I have to have new hobbies all the time. I'm like, this looks like fun. I'm going to try it. My kids did it. And I was like, that looks cool. And I was learning all the, like, their katas and stuff as they were learning it so I could help them get better. And I was like, all right, I'll try this. And so I just did. When I was a kid, one of my things was I was really if I read a book, I would decide that's what I'm going to do. So I read a book about Muhammad Ali. So I started doing road work and stuff. I was like, I delivered newspapers as like a 11, 12-year-old. I'd take a jump rope with me while I was doing it. I would run. I'd be like doing my road work. And so I get weirdly obsessed with things based on whatever I'm reading or whatever. And so that's how I got into that as a child. And then just it piqued my interest again when I was exposed to it again. So,
Yeah.
And then, like I said, our karate teacher taught all kinds of stuff. So he's just like, he's showing us all these throws. And I'm like, this is the cool stuff. And so
this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So little Nikki was out here jump roping out, double dutching with the best of them. Can you double dutch? Like
no, those people are amazing.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know why I asked that because with those little feet, I don't know how you get them.
Dang.
Dang, roasted. That's right.
Really?
I don't care.
You already know I got a few in the chamber all the time, Nikki.
Nah, my feet are small. I can't help it.
Toddler feet, y'all. Not just small, toddler size feet. Every time I go out and I see some shoes, I'm like, who's child? Oh no, those are Nikki's.
And it doesn't help that they're like all kinds of weird design Crocs every time I get new shoes.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of like little influences. You know, Muhammad Ali was sounds like it was big for you just in general on kind of getting that exposure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of martial arts movies and stuff. Obviously, I am a kid of the '80s, so I wasn't really into Karate Kid, but it was there and stuff like that. So
I'd imagine that was pretty big. Like that when that blew up. If social media was a thing back then, it would have been #1 trending Karate Kid.
Probably, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, my shit was Three Ninjas.
I
mean,
90s. It's all right. And then I played Double Dragon at the arcade all the time.
I know what Double Dragon is. I played Double Dragon.
That was my thing, my waste of money. So,
Michaela, do you know what Double Dragon is?
No. What is it? What is it?
I mean,
it's a side scroller fighting game. You just walk up to people, start punching them.
Enemies come in, do little combos, and just keep moving.
All right. Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right. Michaela, do you want to segue off that or?
I mean, just whatever.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I got one branch off. So when you started, then, so you messaged the page, you got in. Because I know Michaela and I, we've talked a little bit about like our first kind of exposure and experience to jujitsu and whatnot. So, what was that first day, like week of training like for you? Were there any other women there? Like, and how many people were there?
Right. So, if you know the history of ground theory, Rich and I are the only ones still there from back then. I mean, like, we're the oldest. Like, he's the first guy that he was there before the Mats were there. And then when I messaged, Matt was like, well, we're doing a women's class on Tuesday. Can you come on Tuesday? And I was like, sure. And it was me and one other girl. And it was all right. And we did a lot of self-defense stuff. And I was like, okay, not really what I was wanting to do, whatever. We went through the whole self-defense program, got a pink belt, whatever.
A pink belt.
Yeah. To
Oh,
get a
okay.
self-defense pink belt. And then I'm like, I mean, I wanted more from it. And I'd see all these people coming in and training after the women's class. And I'm like, I kind of want that. And then Matt messaged me and was like, hey, we're not really sure that the women's class is working out. Because, like I said, it was just me and another girl. Mm-hmm. And then half the time she wasn't there. And I was like, that's okay. I want to do this as sport. I want to compete. I want more out of it anyway. And he's like, cool. We'll move you to the regular class. Well, basically the women's class disappeared at that point. And the other girl never came back after that. Whatever. I couldn't even tell you her name. Maybe Heidi could, but moved into the other class, so that was pretty cool. So, yeah. Then we get a few women here and there. We had one woman that was a police officer. I want to say her name was Jen. I can't remember. And then my friend Christy joined.
I remember Christy.
Wasn't long after that you started showing up. Like, we had a few women that came over when Rivers combined with Lawrence Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We had a few women that came from there. Most of them were spouses of guys that trained, and they kind of kept falling off. But then after Christy, I feel like Deja was the next woman that was there all the time. I really do. I think you were like the next mainstay, I guess.
Oh, that's crazy. You guys are the two OGs then.
Yeah,
you guys and Heidi.
I guess technically.
Heidi, yeah.
Heidi was the one who, I think it was Heidi who messaged me back when I first emailed and said I wanted to get into it. And it was literally like I emailed on a Wednesday, I think. And they were talking about this open mat or whatever on a Saturday. And I popped it on a Saturday, and Heidi was the main one who worked with me in like closed guard and stuff. And then it was like, all right, I'm signing up. Got a gi, and it was on and popping after that.
Yep. Oh man, I remember the first time putting on the jiu-jitsu gi. So it's a little bit different than the karate gi, especially the pants were different. And then got that weird loopy belt or tie thing on the jiu-jitsu pants. Mm-hmm. I think I put the pants on backwards. I did all that white belt stuff. I'm like, whatever. So whenever someone's like, oh, what do I do? And I'm like, let me show you, because I've been there, dude. So, but yeah, the gi was definitely interesting because it was so different, just weirdly different. I don't know.
Yeah, what's your favorite, gi or no gi?
No gi.
Yeah.
Hater. Okay, well, why? Tell the people what's your preference for no gi, and I am curious, like, has that ever gone, and has that changed in waves?
Oh, it does. It does. And sometimes I do like the gi. I like no gi just because I like the pace a little better. I don't want all those grips. I want to get moving and get out of the way, that sort of stuff. I don't know. I just, right now, I really like no gi better, and I'm really into the leg lock stuff, and it's just better suited for no gi. But when
Nice.
we went to Vegas and we're waiting for our medals at the podium and stuff, the girl that was sitting next to me, she goes, "Do you do a lot of no-gi?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." She goes, "I don't do it at all, but I tried to toe hold her and then in the gi match." So I know that's why she asked. She's like, "Wait, what's happening?"
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So I don't know.
I mean,
But
all
yeah.
right. Michaela, I know you like both. There's
Yeah,
no.
I haven't decided, or I don't have a favorite yet. I'm still in between. I like both. There's times where I like gi more, yeah, and then there's just a little bit more, and then there's times where I like no gi just a little bit more, but nothing's like really stood out. I like both
Mhm.
right now. We're still
Gi
learning.
all day.
Yep. I know.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like I said, I admitted, like, dare I say, I do like no gi now. I think I do like gi better because I like more things in the gi, but sometimes it's not necessarily a trade off. It's just a difference, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
just like a
For sure.
different pace in no gi, like you said, than there is in the gi. And I don't mind the pace in gi, but I do prefer the no gi pace. Just not being held down, being able to move maybe a little freer. While for me personally, I like the thinking puzzle challenge aspect and getting through that frustration in gi. Um, Personally, I think there's more puzzles to solve for me than there are in no-gi. That's why I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like grips too.
Yeah.
Well, I like choking people with these, so I mean, I
Mm,
can't get like I've hit that this what is that one? Oh, the ninja choke. I've hit the ninja choke a couple of times in tournaments. It's been a long time because I'm not on a winning streak right now, but I've hit that ninja choke.
Whatever.
I know ninja choke a couple of times in tournaments, and you can't obviously you can't do that without the gi. So I mean, it's what there's. I'll do both, obviously.
I think at some point, gi is going to become like this lost art, and it's going to be up to us to continue to hold that flame, right? To continue the torch. Whatever, Nikki. Okay, look,
uh,
people are going to be looking for a specialized jujitsu experience. And if they're just going around and all got all these little no-gi gems around and all they're like, oh, jujitsu, it's like when you find a book and it's been lost for centuries and there's dust over it. That's what the gi is gonna come to. And so don't lose sight of the bigger picture here.
yeah, it might be coming back sooner than later. Like the book might
Yeah,
not be
with
too dusty.
right. Craig Jones is trying to bring it back. So
That's right. And watch. You watch how many people are going to convert so
oh, for
fast.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
fanboy.
The key is just better, bro. Like you could just have so many different options. Like it's gonna be like the rebirth of worm and squid, lapel, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I'm still learning everything. I'm like, dang, it doesn't stop. When you taught, what did you teach squid on top of worm? I was like,
I
oh,
did.
there's a worm and a squid.
Well, there's also like so much to it because like I don't play it like that, but it's like there's things that like Nikki live like there's things that maybe you don't play, but if it's there and you see it, it's like an option. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, I haven't been playing with the lapels as much as like like I used to, and so let me start playing around with that a little more. And so then when Heidi asked me to teach a few weeks ago, I was like, well, what haven't we actually like had exposure to in a really long time, and I need to get back into, or at least the foundations of it. And so I was like, oh yeah, like lapel stuff like that makes the gi right the outlier to no gi because
Mm-hmm.
there's just so many different things, even if it's like not effective stuff or stupid or what or
I mean, you
whatever.
gotta learn it. You do have to learn it. You should know it. It's helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like yesterday when I was in open mat, I was trying to go for squid, but I somehow ended up in reverse De La Hiva, but I hadn't been looking at it, but I recognized like the reverse De La Worm that I was in, and I was like, oh, because I had the lapel, but I was like, I don't know where I need to go from here, but I know this is the position.
Yeah, I like that name, Reverse De La Worm. That's pretty
Reverse De
cool.
La Worm. That's probably my favorite one. Just because you're like, well, what?
Dang. I gotta learn that.
See? Gee, baby.
Yeah, I got that whole encyclopedia thing. I'm not gonna say where, but I got it, and I'm like, okay, I'll get into this, and it just never clicked for me. Like, but I'll use it once in a while to. Like I said, you gotta learn it, whether you are gonna use it every day. At least you see it, you know.
Yeah. You just got to know, right? You just got to, so you recognize it. Somebody starts grabbing for something. You're like, oh, okay. I know I don't want you to have that right now. Yeah. So kind of going back to so you mentioned, you wanted to compete, you want to do that. And I know like when Michaela and I've talked before, we've talked about like the difference between like everybody's jiu-jitsu journey is their own, whatever you want to do, whether you want to be a hobbyist, competitor, you want to mix it in, competitor for like a year. And then it's like, I'll put that down for a little bit, whatever that, it's your individual journey. And obviously like women, we've gotten there's been a lot more of us competing, especially like age wise too. I know since I've been in it, since you've been in it. And so was that something that you automatically knew, like when you transit, like, so you came from karate and then you went and started training with jiu-jitsu? Was that like an immediate, I know I want to do this and I know I want to compete, I know of competing, or it was like I want to compete but I don't know if it's an option? Like what was that for you at the beginning?
Well, I mean, you've known me long enough that you know I love competing, and that has always been a thing for me since I was a kid. I was on swim team from the time I was 7 years old, and I was in
Swimmer
bowling
out here.
I was in bowling too, Deja.
Snap!
I suck at it now, but like from the time I was like 6 or 7, I had my first bowling ball at 8. But,
oh, that's awesome.
I love competing, and so I knew I wanted to compete for sure. It was, I mean, if I was not 40 when I started, I probably would have really focused hard on it. But that's my more preferred thing. Like Danaher said something about, oh, people are either competitors or teachers. I don't agree with that entirely, because there are people that just want to do it for the heck of it, for fun, a hobby, whatever. But I mean, I would be considered a hobbyist, obviously, but I would prefer to be a competitor. I'm just 50 now.
Yeah. I'd say you're both. I mean, you went out there
Absolutely.
with the adults at Vegas.
The scariest one out of everybody. Nikki had that.
Well, yeah, I really wanted to try to work with heel hooks. Didn't make it that far. That's all right. I'll do it again eventually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, like, Ray, so crazy journey. I mean, you started at 40. Michaela, how old were you when you started?
25.
25.
Yeah.
I was 28 when I started. Everybody, they have their own, like, you started different times, right? And how long were you doing karate before?
I'm in a few years. I'm not sure. I got red belt, so all I had to get was brown and black. But like I said, my coach moved away, so I didn't get to do that. But
yeah. Did you
fun.
compete in karate?
Yeah. Not in any sparring, because again, they didn't have a lot of people. It's the same thing. You run into age and size and gender, especially. People don't want to punch each other, I guess. I don't know. But so I did a lot of, like, we call them katas in karate. Some places call them forms, whatever. I did those, did okay. I was on the competition team.
Nice.
Which was fun, that sort of stuff. So go out there and do
Dang.
weird demos and stuff. It's pretty fun.
Check accolades. Nikki, check.
It's not all that serious.
So you gotta watch your hands then. Nikki's coming in.
Watch out. Hey, y'all should put the gloves on.
All right.
Why not? Put the gloves on.
We can do that, Nikki. If you're down.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
I think you could like hook it up. I could see you being like, you'd be like, you go to the body a lot. You seem like that type person.
Well, okay, so when I was a kid, my dad let us fight each other all the time, but our rules at the house were you couldn't hit each other in the privates and you couldn't hit each other in the face. So I mean, that was the rules. He's like, solve it yourself as long as we didn't hit each other in the face. So that sort of stuff. So probably would go body for sure.
I am always accurate when it comes to this. Is probably Nikki. Like Nikki would do this.
You really are.
Call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wild. You guys have been training together for 8 years then.
Well, yeah. However long Deja's been training.
Yeah.
Probably closer to 9. I was going to say, it's got to be coming up on 9.
9 in March, April.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And it's been quick, like I guess the time. And that was me like leaving and coming back off and on from Minnesota for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Nikki, as we continue to talk about, right, as I'm learning, I didn't even know. I probably did know, like through the grapevine, you probably mentioned, I didn't even know you did karate. I've known you almost this long. But as we continue to dive and peel back these pieces of Nikki and the greatness that is Nikki. So when Nikki started, so I'm curious. So before I started, did you have any competitions that you competed in before I started, or?
Yeah. So my first competition was in AGF. I don't know. Maybe you were there. It said my shirt. I still have the shirt. It says AGF 2016. I
don't think I was there.
I don't know. I'm like, I don't think you were. I think Tristy was my only main training partner at that time. I went, and then Caden and his brother competed at that same tournament. Isaac, I don't know if you guys know Isaac really, but Caden and Isaac and myself were the only ones that competed at that one. And then after that, I did Sunflower State Games. I got beat bad at my first tournament. You don't know, man. You walk in there a few months in and you're like, okay. You don't know. This girl was, again, way bigger than me, whatever. She got her blue belt right after that. I don't know. I took it hard.
What happened?
Nothing really. I'm pretty sure I lost 2-0. But
okay.
But then Sunflower State Games, I lost the first round 2-0. Lost the second round 0-0. They gave her the decision, and I left there driving back to Topeka so freaking angry. I called my mom. It's like, this sucks. And I'm like throwing a fit. And she's like, you need to stop and check yourself. And I'm like,
dang.
I was so mad from losing. I get mad.
Damn.
And she's like, you were like this with swimming too. I go, no, I wasn't. I didn't lose.
Dang, that's right. That's right. Mom never lost. What are we talking about?
And she's like, no, you did sometimes, and this is what you did every time. Stop. Was this something you could have fixed? Did you do everything you could? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, then stop it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I think I needed that. Call your mom. Because I was so angry driving back from Topeka, just fuming down the trip. So.
Understandable. We've all been there, I've been there a couple times. Call my grandma, calm me down, give you the tone of like, it's okay, and this is ridiculous. What are you crying for?
Right.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens.
And I was like, now it's Matt that comes and calms me down. And I was telling Michaela that Matt hugged me in Vegas, and that really freaked me out. He's just like, it's okay, pumpkin. And I'm like, no, that was my worst match ever. And I'm going on and on. He goes, it really wasn't.
I
And
do remember that. He was like, "You've had worse." Like that's
then,
that's what he's.
then he starts listing all the stuff that I did bad in other tournaments. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I guess when you've had someone around you that long, I mean, 10 years with Matt,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, stop. You've sucked before. It's okay.
Hey, you just got to get in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you get nervous competing?
No, I love it.
No.
I really don't. It's exactly the same as swimming because you check in. They're like, "This is what time you're going," and you're okay, and then you sit around and wait, and then oh, it's my event. Let me run out there and do my event real quick. Oh, now I gotta wait again. It's the format is almost exactly the same as swimming, so I just got so used to it. Like I said, I started swim team at 7, so it's just like kind of in me, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just natural.
Yeah. When
Steady hands.
Carl told me he puked all the time, like before every match. Clear up until he was a brown belt, and I'm like, why? I just get so nervous, and I'm like, okay. So
Foreign. Nikki doesn't understand nerves.
I get nerves, but once I know something, like I already know that, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first one I was kind of nervous, of course, because I didn't know what to expect. Once I did that first one, I'm like, oh, okay, got it. So
Yeah.
I
that's
don't like new
crazy.
stuff. So
Yeah.
Dang.
Does it not feel new, competing at a different belt? Like going into a brown belt match, do you feel pretty like you know what's going to happen, but it's different than your white belt matches?
I don't know. I'm still playing hashtag. No,
Yeah.
it is a little bit, but since the women's jiu-jitsu stuff is so small, you kind of end up knowing people, and so you're like, oh, I went against her, I beat her before, or
Mm-hmm.
she's beat me before. Like the last 2 years in a row at purple belt, the same girl beat me. You know, I did better the second year, but whatever. And then we weren't in the same bracket at brown belt, but it was, I don't know. It seems pretty much the same, but the jiu-jitsu is just better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just
That's
way
damn
better.
right. Damn right.
I can't just slam their head down and hook the guillotine like I would love to do. That doesn't work at brown belt. So.
It's a noticeable level change.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't know if you've had the same experience, but I've noticed through like the progression of belts, there's always like a progression of like, okay, like I just got my blue belt, but even if I can notice like the difference of like blue belt from white belt competition, like I feel like I was like it was a progressive kind of thing. Like okay, like yes, there's more of a challenge here, but like I'm here for the challenge. I can meet that challenge. Not to say that I can't write at brown belt, but it is like it wasn't like a natural kind of flow and transition into that progression of like, okay, maybe a little difficult, just a few things to kind of figure out. It felt like from purple to brown was like a very noticeable jump. I know Carl has mentioned that, like for him. I think Colton has also said that. Yeah, I don't know.
Purple to brown was probably, as far as that sort of stuff goes, probably the most. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
because these are the people that are staying it. You don't get to brown belt and then just quit. These are the people that
yeah.
are gonna be black belts. I mean, it's just time now.
Mm-hmm.
And at blue belt, oh, I stuck it out a couple years. I got my blue belt. A lot of people quit then, and the people I competed against at blue belt are gone. I mean, they're just not doing it anymore. And so, whatever, you start seeing people that are serious about it. If they've made it to brown belt, they've been working hard. And so, yeah, you do notice the progression for sure. And they know how to use their bodies more. It's like, Kate, for example, how did you do that? And I'm like, it's timing. Well, how do you know? And I'm like, because I've been on the mat for 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
you feel it and you're like, oh, let's go right now. And you don't have that at white belt. You're watching white belt matches and you're like, just do it. I remember when Matt would go, get the underhook. This is his favorite thing, telling me, get the underhook. And I'd go this way. No, the other underhook. Okay. And that's stuff you learn. Well, all those people at brown belt already know that shit too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
What you said, right, is they know how to use their body different. That's what I was telling you too, Michaela. You know, like after Vegas, we were talking about like, did I notice a difference? Like, cause I changed, like I went up in age this year at World. So I'm going from Masters 1 to Masters 2. And then I also went down in weight. But they felt stronger, and younger, I guess, right? It was like, they're
that's true.
yeah, because they have the technique, like as you continue to progress, that window of opportunity to make mistakes continues to narrow. And it's not just to do this and do this. It's like you have to do this to hopefully go back to do this, to maybe do this, to go back to do this, to then maybe initiate that. Like if you get put into a, like I know it's like once you get put into a situation, it's just hard to get that ground game back, because the technique is just so good. And I'm curious, like for you, Michaela, like what, because I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but like what's kind of been like the things that you've noticed just in your progression from like just the competitors from like white belt to now, like I would say like in your deep blue belt journey.
What I've noticed, or what I noticed this at Texas, everybody's just more technical, but we're still blue belt, so we're all trying, like we're finding our path. And I could see that this past weekend. Like we're all kind of we're trying to figure out what we like and what's going to be our game. And you can see that, or I can see that now. Like everybody's trying things, but we're not good at them yet. You know, like we're just trying. Like we're trying techniques. I think we're just trying to figure it out. But I I I think it's cool that I can see that now. Whereas like white belts, white belts, they don't know what they're doing. Like it's just at my white belt matches, I think it was just being aggressive and athletic and just beating people being athletic, and then getting to blue. Oh, people are thinking about things a little more. Like there is a little more technique. And now like being in later blue, like I'm seeing like people know what they're doing. They're just not good at it. You know, like, and it's like the pre-stages of figuring out your game. At least that's what I've been seeing. But my competitors in Texas, they were all pretty athletic and strong too. So that was kind of cool to see, like, oh, we're stepping, like the game is stepping up.
Yeah.
From like white belt, you got a bunch of just random, like maybe some athletes, maybe just some hobbyists, just people that want to do it for fun. But now that I'm getting into the later stages of blue, I'm seeing more athletes and people that are really serious about this, and they're on the same page that I am on. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. It is, I think, yeah, evolution. I don't know if you've noticed this, Nikki, like when you first started out, like, I don't know if like, yeah, you've been a lifelong athlete, but just like even weightlifting, right? And like weight training and combination and like being athletic in combination with your training and technique. Cause I know obviously like coming and being a D2 athlete, I mean, that was just already ingrained. Like like weight training is just a part of what I do on top of like jiu-jitsu and whatnot. But I mean, even a month ago, I made a Facebook post saying like when I was at Crunch, it was a noticeable thing that like 10 years ago I wouldn't have seen, where all of the platforms were women. Like we're not talking about little free weights and not free weights, but like the little dumbbells and like just doing, obviously there's stuff like that. Got to get your little booty gains in. I hear you. But it was like, a lot of women were out here powerlifting, being athletic, And you see that in a number of sports, right? I mean, obviously there's an explosion of the girls wrestling. We can even say like women and girls basketball is more entertaining to watch. It's like the popularity, but because they're fun to watch, because they're like the fundamentals have always been strong, but now we have like athleticism really being exploded within women. So like, have you noticed that kind of shift too? Like just in like from what you've seen in jiu-jitsu, I don't know if like you've noticed that change as well.
I think a lot of people are becoming more and more health conscious, just in general. Like, even like when I was a swimmer, we did groundwork or whatever, dry land. So you'd have to run and do stupid things, but we didn't lift. I mean, it just wasn't a thing. There's not weightlifting at the swimming pool, but I feel like a lot of people are training, not just going out there and doing stuff. I didn't really get into lifting until, I mean, it's been a few years now, but it wasn't really in my thought process. And I don't know. It's like, I do think it has gotten bigger for sure. I went to the gym over here at the apartment complex the other day, or no, actually today. I walk in and it was mostly women, even in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was one girl that was hogging the leg press machine. She's literally sitting on it on her phone, and people are standing there staring at her. She's just
gotta get my sets in.
And I'm like, okay, moving to the next thing. And she was oblivious, but it was it was almost all women. There was one guy, and he was on the treadmill, which surprised me. It's usually the other way, but so yeah, I think so. So
yeah.
But
hey, we out here. Ladies killing the game. Yeah. Sup, Roxy? Hi, Roxy.
Roxy.
Hi. Yeah. Okay, so weight training's a big thing. Like you were saying, Michaela, like you just noticed more athleticism and obviously like matching the athleticism with the technique. Because it used to be at one point in time, right? Like you can get away with the athleticism, even if your technique wasn't as sharp. But now, and if your technique was super sharp and you weren't athletic, you could get away with that. And now if you have a combination of the two, and one person might have, some sharp technique, but they're not athletic or they're not health conscious, like it is going to be a challenge out here. I know, like, I'm not accusing everybody, but I'm just saying, some masters out here with the health consciousness that they have going on. Not everybody, but a solid few. When I go into the masters, like worlds, and I'm seeing, people pushing strollers and like, I know you got a day job on Monday, but they're looking yoked.
Right.
There's a couple theories. More so than I see with the like adults. I'm just saying. It's the acai. That's what it is.
It is.
That's what it is.
But yeah.
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe when I get older, you might catch me out here feeling some type of way and experimenting. Because why not?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Why not? Yeah, Nikki.
I mean,
I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need the mustache.
Nikki's natural.
All natural. What? You don't want a little stash? Like a little peach fuzz right here?
I'm good.
You can shave that off. It's fine.
Nah, I'm good. I'll just keep lifting.
Okay, but think about what your max could be. Okay, I got one.
I'm all right.
I'm willing to bet that if you had a little hit of the tea, I firmly believe, and she's going to be mad that I said this, and that's okay, prove me wrong. But Nikki would have to do this to be able to prove me wrong. I think you're beating Kate in a 40.
Shit, no, my knees are...
Yeah, you are. No, I think it's happening. I think it's Michaela. I think it's happening.
So,
I
even
don't
when I was
know.
in track, I spent most of my time in track with ice on my knees.
Yeah, but you won't feel your knees if you're
Maybe.
teed up.
Yeah, I'm not worried about all that.
I'm just
I
trying to
don't
see
need to.
Nikki.
I
I'm just
don't
trying to
need
see
to
you
run. I can
drive.
fight.
Yeah, but if you ran first, you wouldn't have to fight.
Eh, it's all right. I'll square up instead, especially if it's Kate. Although she might shoot me.
Damn! Bang bang! Yeah, watch it.
Okay. Nikki, do you take creatine?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah.
One scoop once a day, no matter what. That's
Nice.
the slogan from the company I get one from.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good.
Was that like a new, like, was that a thing for you? Like getting like vitamins, creatine and stuff? Was that something that you just did once you got into jujitsu, or is that something that you kind of had in your bag before training?
I just really was. I did a. It's fairly new. It's mostly with weightlifting. So Ron is my unofficial weightlifting coach.
Nice.
That's a great unofficial weightlifting coach.
I'll like all of a sudden message him, "Hey, I'm having this," and he's like, "Okay, let's do this," you know. So and he knows it, so it's fine. But he was the one that suggested different supplements that would work well for me and stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's the one that's like, you should try some creatine. And so I kind of, I was like, and once I find something that if I like the taste, I'm okay. There's some of these supplements and stuff that are horrible. Some of the pre-workouts are horrible, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, here we go. Try this. I'm tearing muscles. Let's put them back together.
Let's get it.
So,
Okay. I mean, you did kind of take you like popped off like you started like I know you like heavy started that weightlifting journey of yours like a couple years ago.
right. It's been a while. Like at least I started focusing more hardcore on it about was it 3 years ago that we did Vegas in November? I think so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, with the milk and stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy. It
But
was me,
yeah,
Nikki, and Julian in Vegas, like walking down the opposite way of the strip because we were walking the wrong way, and then we stop at a stoplight. It was the craziest shit. We just stopped at a
it was
stoplight for this truck to turn, and as it was turning, like I don't even know how many
like
gallons of milk fell out
cases of milk.
and just
Really?
like on the road. Yeah,
Oh
it
my God.
was
Milk gallons
for
everywhere.
days. And it's like it just splatters across the street, and then you have people like trying to like pick it up and then throw it in this like tractor that was behind it somehow, and then there was like a dude in a wheelchair, and like people were trying to get him a
And
gallon of
Julian to
milk.
go
Like,
get milk.
yeah,
Go get me some milk.
it was the
Julian
strange.
runs.
It was the
It was
strangest thing.
it was a good experience. But yeah, no, it was right about then that I really started focusing on it. I'm gonna have to pull that
After
picture
the
up.
milk truck.
It was muscle milk had a whole new meaning after that.
Yeah, right. And the guy driving just kind of looks in his mirror. You could see him look in his mirror, shrugs, and keeps driving. I'm like,
Didn't stop at all. Didn't slow down. It was like I'm gonna go wherever I'm supposed to go without the milk.
he's
Without
like,
the
I'm
milk
about to
in
get
hand.
fired. I'm about to get fired. Might as well. But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, that's about when I started really, really focusing on weightlifting and stuff like that. I think because I went in there in that super heavies and couldn't move these girls. They're big.
Mm.
They're big girls. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm still in that weight class. But I told Heidi one day, I go, you know what? If I can't cut it, then I'm just going to be stronger. And she's like, all
Nice.
right, we can work with that. So that's where I'm at. I'm like, I'll just be the strongest 50-year-old. super
Yeah,
heavy.
that's awesome.
You're fast out here. You're faster than you were too.
Well, for sure. It definitely has changed. Like, well, I'm not in pain as much either. Even though I'm still around the same weight now, I'm not like I used to have a lot of pain all the time, and just changing the way your body works helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Speaking of body, because Nikki never likes to let me forget throughout the years since we've known each other and been training with each other for almost 9 years. So, and this is also part of this inspiration for our Zen talk we'll get into later. But Nikki has been here for 50 years of life, and she's clearly gone through trials and tribulations as all people do in their lives. And one of those, body wise, just so happened to be Nikki having to persevere after a knee injury caused by your girl, my B. So that happened. I think because I was right before, it was the weekend before or 2 weekends before Sunflower. So that would have been my
it was
first.
the same week. It was
The same
Wednesday
week.
night of the
See,
Sunflower week.
Nikki
Last,
remembers the details.
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I remember. The last, you know how Matt always, oh, don't train hard after Wednesday. It was Wednesday. And we were
Yeah.
doing a takedown, King of the Hill type thing, King of the Mat. And some reason, I don't know what takedown was happening. Your knee hit my knee goes this way, and my foot stayed. My foot stayed right planted, and my knee just goes. And I tap on the way down, and Deja's like, "What are you doing?" You know, my knee
Yeah, it was the
popped.
worst. If I remember correct, yeah, it was the weirdest thing. So it was the so that Wednesday I was gonna do my first competition. I mean, I ended up still doing it. At
Right,
Sunflower, I had only been training. That was month 4. I think
right.
I had been
Dang.
training, and we were drilling takedowns, but it was before the like it was in an arm drag exchange, and if I remember correctly, like I was coming in and like you said, like our knees just hit um
Mhm.
perfectly. I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything, and then I just like Nikki just falls and like tapping like she said, and I'm just like, what are you doing? It was the oddest thing.
And
Yeah.
Tristy was there too, because she came running over. I was propping my knee up. It was in Nogi. It was when we did Wednesday's Nogi and then
See,
Gi.
Nogi's the devil.
Mm.
And I was like, I just decided to sit out for the rest of Nogi. And I had my knee propped up, and then I was like, all right, it's time to put my gi on. I walk over, and I was like, oh no, that's not gonna work. And so I was like, I'll just be back tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Grab my stuff. It's when we were still in the upstairs over there by on 31st Street. Grab my stuff, walk out the door, collapse in the parking lot.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay. So then some kid that I don't even know who it was, they were also a white belt, gets me to my car. I'm sitting on the edge of the car, and Frank Tank comes out, and he's like, "You better go to the doctor. You need to go right now. Go blah blah blah." And I was like, "I'm gonna go home," but I left my phone upstairs, and he's like, "I'll go get it." He went and got my phone. I call home. I'm like, "I'm gonna need someone to get me out of the car." I literally had to be drugged out of my car, and then at that point, Kenny's like, "Well, you gotta go to the hospital." I'm like, "I gotta eat dinner."
Never miss a meal.
So I eat and then went to the hospital, and they're like, "Oh, everything's fine on X-ray. You should go to ortho." And ortho was like, "Oh well, it's probably just the meniscus. That's not that big a deal." Then when I got the MRI, it was meniscus and ACL. So
Mm-hmm.
didn't get to do Sunflower that day. Deja took me out before we could compete against each other.
That all she knows, that was the strategy all along. I needed to get her out of the way. This was my first competition. I was like, I need to get the W.
But and you did do well that day too.
I did. I got first. Like
Nice.
multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple times. Nice, Deja.
It was the athleticism.
That's right.
Pushing
It
the weight,
was.
baby.
That's right. So clearly, right, big injury. that you had to deal with on that. And, talk to us a little bit about like what, because since it was your meniscus and your ACL, like what was your recovery time? What did that recovery like look like? Because we've talked about setbacks and like challenges, and obviously like injuries happen in jiu-jitsu. It's a contact sport. I mean, it's rough on your body. And, one of the like some of those things, if it's not, it can be I guess career ending, right? Or even if it's not, just psychologically trying to get back and persevere. If you haven't been training, then you feel a certain way. Because I distinctly remember you coming in and taking notes and whatnot. So tell us about what the recovery time was on that. What were you thinking during that recovery time, and like how did you get yourself to kind of push through that to get yourself back on the mats?
So earlier you said friends and then teammates, whatever. I lean towards more, oh, it's a family. I know that's cheesy and cliche, but I don't know how I would have done without the team, So I went to PT 2 to 3 times a week, and Matt was always yelling at me about it, and he's like, "Let's go. What else are we doing? You got to work. You got to work." And so when I would go to class, he would have me do warm ups. Anything that I could get my physical therapist to okay, I did. I did so many warm ups. You know how I love warm up, but no, I did. So I would record warm ups, take it to my physical therapist. He's a sports therapist. He coached wrestling, so he kind of knew the movements that I needed. But I was also coaching baseball at the time, so he was getting me baseball ready and wrestling ready. And I'd show him, okay, this is what we're doing. He goes, you can do this, don't do that, whatever. So I really worked hard during the physical therapy stuff and did all my at home exercises on the side of the mat. I'd have the band out doing band stuff, whatever, taking notes. It was hard to stay off the mat though. It's so hard, especially since I was there. So there were a couple of times I'd like crawl over and like do a choke or something that didn't need my knee. But they told me, so at the time there was a huge research going on at the Mayo Clinic that said you shouldn't do anything for 2 years after an ACL replacement.
Whoa.
I know. And so, and my my physical therapist that's where he went to school in Minnesota. And I'm like, so what do you think about this? And I was like, I just want to know what you think. He goes, what are you going to do if I say don't do anything for 2 years? And I was like, whoa. He goes, you're not going to listen. He's like, you're going to find a different therapist that tells you what you want. You're not going to necessarily get better. You're going to do whatever you want regardless. And I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, so business standpoint, I'm going to get you where you need to be. And I'm like, all right. And so at 6 months, and I did have a lot of mental anguish with it. So I talked to Alvin, another teammate, family member. He's been through so many surgeries, so many things. I was like, I'm struggling. I can't handle this. I'm really upset. And he's like, I go, I'm not getting better. I'm not getting better. And he's like, you are getting better. So he started me journaling. He's like, just write down, how do I feel? What did I do? And then in a couple of days, look back at what you did the day before or the week before. What can you do? And that journaling helped a lot because I literally felt like I'm not getting better. But obviously I was. I could go upstairs alternating feet, which is a kindergarten trait, just so you know, in case you ever wondered. I couldn't alternate legs going upstairs at first. Then, hey, I just walked up the stairs, that sort of stuff. So, journaling definitely helped. But I did take notes at Jiu-Jitsu. Um, Matt and Heidi would send me links to different videos to watch. So I would take notes on those. Like I got all of the stuff from Gustavo Dantas has a members only website and Matt sent me his link to that. Watched all that stuff. Did all that. It it was a rough time, but I remember when they told me, hey, it's ACL, you're probably going to need to have surgery, I was like, well, I'm not quitting. And that was it. I wasn't quitting. I was a freaking 4-stripe white belt at that time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know a lot of people quit at blue belt, and I'm like, I'm not quitting. First of all, not quitting before blue belt for sure, but I put that much into it, and that I'm like, nah, why would I quit? And so I would go to class every day. Just being there mentally helped me. And then, you know, you do learn a lot when you can't do it. You got to translate how to do it. And I'll look at my notes, and even now, and it cracks me up some of the stuff I wrote, but it's pretty detailed. And there's still things that I remember from my notes, like when you're trying to bump them in the tailbone to knock them over your head, like for single leg X or whatever. In my notes, it says kick them in the coccyx, and that just cracks me up. So, like, okay, I mean, so it was a huge mental journey. Then at 6 months, they said I could do a return to sport, uh, return to sport evaluation. And my therapist was so like, I'm not talking 24 weeks. I'm talking 6 full months. He's like, that's going to be closer to 30 weeks. You know that. And I'm like, okay. And I did return to sport, and my operated on leg was just as strong, sometimes a little stronger than my non-operative leg. And he's like, all right, you're clear to do sports. Be careful. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, the longer you can stay off of it, the better. I'm like, okay. So I get back on the mat that day and competed 3 months later. And
Dang.
yeah, I went to my next competition at 9 months post-op, and I got silver, I believe. And then I took, when I went to my 1 year checkup, I gave my physical therapist my first medal, which was a silver. I'm like, sorry, I didn't get gold. And he's like, this is the coolest thing ever. So I was like, I don't know. I don't, I would probably do it exactly the same way again. Just go when I felt comfortable. But a lot of people go more for that year mark. But I don't know. It was fun, but it sucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cool Alvin got you into journaling. Because you still
Yeah,
do that, right? You still write down a lot of things.
yeah, not quite the same. Like, it's definitely evolved. Right now, my journal that I use for my daily planner stuff, if there's something that works really well, I might note it down, or something that I want to continue to work on, I write it down so that I can remember. Because I train a lot at the 6 a.m. class, and I'm like, oh, I need to work on this. So I'll be like, Levi, and I take it in, and that's what we'll work on or whatever. But mostly in my journal now, it's like uh mostly weightlifting stuff, like
Yeah.
how do I feel, like, okay, it was shoulders today, my right delt hurts really bad. And I'll write that stuff, and I'll try to analyze. Like the other day, I told Deja I finally figured out why my shoulder was hurting, because it was getting crushed underneath my weight and someone else's weight. Well, at that time, it was definitely you. I'm like, why does my shoulder hurt? Oh, but so I note that, like, what's causing this? What do I need to work on to get out of that? I don't take notes on. I don't need to know how to track and roll anymore. I got those notes, 7, 8 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. So but if it's something new or interesting, I will write it down to go back and study it some more. So, but
Yeah. That's awesome. I like that. Obviously, you already know. I'm not a journaler, obviously, but
Yeah,
I tell
no.
people to journal as part of my job and
right,
whatnot. But I think that's really cool. I think one of the things, and I know we've talked about it in the past, that just, and everybody has their own unique journey, their own unique space. So clearly we're going to be biased. But I think, like, in my experience, being able to be in our core group, jiu-jitsu group, and then when I left to Minnesota, like, I got a lot of love for them up there too. And there's just something different about our crew.
Mhm.
With Heidi and Matt, just the way that they show up, the vibes, the energy that they put into the gym, where it's not just your teammates, it's not friends, like it's really a family community, right? Like people can
Mhm.
message in the group and say, "Hey, I have like, can somebody help me moving?" Or I have
Yeah.
this heavy thing, or hey, like have a question about or whatever, and people are going to figure it out. And I think that's super awesome for you. Because I am curious, because obviously you talk about like physically that was a really rough go, even though you came back at 9 months, even though you needed to be a year, whatever, Nikki, cool. um
We will talk,
so
people always on the ACL subreddit and the ACL Facebook page are always like, "When did you get back?" And people will ask specifically for different sports, and I'm like, "People, oh, you need to wait at least a year." And I'm like, "Well, not a doctor, but
hey, your own journey. So you had
right."
this physical challenge, right? That you going to physical therapy. Obviously, you're having to
Mhm.
listen, do what you need to do for that. Emotionally, antsy. I want to get
Oh
back.
yeah.
I'm restless.
Mhm.
I mean, I would assume there was probably in that journey, like there was probably moments of not necessarily doubt, but just being down and heavy,
Mhm.
right? I
For
know,
sure.
like when you're not able to physically do something that you're naturally normally able to do, and just not even jujitsu, just like daily, like you said, walking
Like
up the
walk to the
stairs. And
bathroom.
Mhm.
yeah, those things can be really discouraging. And psychologically, right, there's a lot of stuff that can go on, and it's really easy to put logs into the fire of that heaviness that you might be sitting with, like, I'm never going to get back, or no, I don't want to go sit and take notes because I'm not actually doing it. So with all the challenges and like how you had to persevere out of that major challenge that you went through, what advice or what would you like talk, like how would you talk to somebody maybe going through similar kind of tribulations, and if they've gone through a major injury or going through an injury, like what would be some of your advice to them on how to kind of get through that?
If you want it, you got to do it yourself. No one's gonna do it for you. You got to put in the work, that sort of thing. Small things. I do suggest the journaling thing to people all the time. I actually, with Robin's leg injury, I told, because she went through it too. She's like, "This is terrible," and I'm like, "Yep, it is." So I mentioned, and I gave Alvin credit then too. I was like, write it down. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What have you done today? And just, even if you feel like crap, you got to own that. Like, I oh, today was terrible. I couldn't even get my legs straight or whatever. Give yourself that. You gotta give yourself grace that you're not gonna be able to just do everything immediately. But it's I feel like I'm just talking in cliches. Like, don't give up. Keep trying. If you want it for real, you're gonna come back to it. Like I said, I usually jump from hobby to hobby, and I was thinking about that the other day when I was making macaroons for some unknown reason. But
Those are not easy, by the way.
but I had egg whites, so I needed to make something. Anyway, I jumped from hobby to hobby, but this one I've stayed with that long because it makes you think, it makes you active, whatever. And if you want something, you'll just stick with it. And that's where I was. It's like, as soon as I was injured and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have to have surgery," I'm like, "Okay, when am I coming back from it?" And they said if I didn't want to go back to sport, I could have gone without an ACL. And I was like,
Mm.
"Well, I mean, I can't even walk right now, so you got to put it back in." And then, I think just sticking with it. If you want it, stick with it and keep going. So that's it, honestly.
Yeah. Keep moving forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's excellent advice. I think it's really, I think that's one of the most challenging things for people. And it's not like you didn't have those moments of I'm going to be in my pity party today to
Oh, for
myself.
sure.
you know, and I think you have to give yourself those spaces and continuing to move forward, because it's, yeah, okay, we could say you're talking in cliches, but they're not. It nobody is literally going to do it for you. And I think when people really go through challenges, and it's not, everything is not in your control. You literally did everything that you could that was in your control. Here are my set of options. I'm going to pick the one that makes the best sense for me, and that's what I'm going to do. I think a lot of people, including myself sometimes, like, we just want to be held like a, you know, mom, and just tell me it's not my fault, and just make it all go away, and I just want to be on the
Right.
other side. But you don't get to the other side unless you have to put foot to ass and just
Mhm.
do it. If you even only, if you have 20% that day, put the 20% in. Like, it's not going to be
Right.
100% every day. You have to acknowledge the little victories, which are big victories. Like you said, like, can't straighten out my leg today, but like, I can do this. Like, I straightened it out a little more a couple days ago and whatnot. So it's, you got to get up. And like I said, with especially jujitsu too, because like you say, you were a 4-stripe white belt, and at that point, having a major injury like you did, I mean, you were at that time, like you said, you started at 40, so you're not a young buck at
Right.
this particular time, and you easily could have, yeah, got your ACL replaced, and was like, I don't like that. I want to or alternate and go somewhere else. But you came jujitsu, and it was like, I want to sit and take notes. I'm going to sit and do this. A lot of people just won't even come into the gym. And again, like, I know I would struggle with that. So it's no shade on
Mm-hmm.
anybody. It's just saying that, like, I saw you do that, and it, like Nikki's not out here just talking and talking out her ass. Like, no, she was in there every day, more than most people, with a little notebook and notepad, doing what she needed to do before she got so she could get back on the mat. So kudos to you
Yeah.
for pulling out that strength.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I didn't know what to do otherwise. Like, just what I do every day. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why I can't? What am I gonna do? Sit at home and watch TV? No. I don't know. It's just how I am, I guess. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you didn't switch hobbies, which
not that time. I still got a whole bunch of other ones. I have a whole bunch of hobbies, but they
mm-hmm.
don't stay as long as, like, jiu-jitsu definitely stayed the longest
Yeah.
so far as an adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. You can't quit if you love it.
Right, right. Well,
That part.
that's Carl when we got our brown belt Shark Tank and he got his black belt Shark Tank. He's like, "Well, you can't quit anymore." And I'm like, "I could." He goes, "At brown belt, you can't quit." And I'm like, "All
Nope.
right, you're right. You're right. You can't." So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you have any goals, like within jujitsu, like at brown belt or just in general? Are you a goal-oriented type person?
mostly my goal is have fun, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that, so I feel all right with that. But I just want to win again.
I just
I
want
mean,
to win.
I've been all right. Like, but I think in my recent history, I've only won a few, and I want to win more, and I want to win them by submission. I don't want to lose by points, so that's why I'm working more on submission stuff and moving on, not trying to stay where I'm at. But it's so easy to just let other people go, so I'm working on moving. Don't wait. And
Mm-hmm.
so you guys know I sit there and like wait until you do something and react. I'm trying to get myself into acting instead of reacting.
Assertiveness.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Assertive. Are you assertive in other areas in your life, Nikki, outside of jujitsu? I know you're assertive with your opinion.
I sure do. That's because my opinion's right. No,
Dang.
no. I don't. Sometimes, yeah, but not always. No. So
All right. Well, let's dance on this line of assertiveness. Then we're gonna
all
push you a little bit. Then
right.
All right, then.
Do it. Obviously, help me be assertive. That's not really a thing. You have to get that from inside, and it's something I'll work on for sure. But you can definitely tell me, move on. I don't care.
I will.
I know you would.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
yeah. So with that, with, just continuing to learn, evolve, transition into your game. Obviously, things are different as you continue moving forward. They're going to be different at brown belt. It's going to be different at different ages, different weight.
Mhm.
And so, for you, as you are continuing your jujitsu journey and aging and dealing with little injuries and little aches and pains and even right, like new people always coming in, like young bucks and whatnot. Like, how do you manage that journey with like aging in jujitsu and training, and also just engaging with the new people that come in?
Well, the new people is hard for sure, especially when they're the young 20-year-old college aggro boys. I'm like, guys, settle
Mhm.
down. Watching those wrestlers the other day, and then Michaela went against one. I was like, I don't want that. But when I first started, you didn't really turn down anything. You would roll with whoever, and you don't learn that until later that you can actually say no. And I I have that whole fawn thing that we were talking about the other day where I'm like,
People
Matt said I
pleaser.
have to roll. Matt said I have to roll. I got to roll. And then I'm all mad because I got hurt or whatever. So I'm,
Mhm.
but, you know, it's as you age, you definitely have to choose who you're rolling with. But also, if they're just bigger, stronger, sometimes it's not worth it. The difference is at 6 a.m. class, there's mostly white belts. A lot of new dudes show up, and you have to decide, is this what I want to do? Most of the time, we let them beat each other up, and then we kind of work in there. But at Sundays, I don't really have that option. If there's only a couple people, I have to work with that new guy. And if we're rolling, okay. So you just learn to do the technique, or like we said, using your body differently. I have held people down, just held them for 4 or 5 minutes off.
Mhm.
Just burn yourself out, whatever. It's hilarious to me that you can do that, but you can. And you just got to choose wisely. If you're feeling like, oh, I should be done, because that's when you get hurt, when you're too tired and you can't. It's better to just listen to your listen to your thoughts going, this is a bad idea. It probably is. So
Yeah. Got to be
yeah,
smart out here.
yeah, for sure. But it takes a long time to learn that, I think. But maybe it's not as hard now. But when I first started, it was real hard because there weren't as many people. So
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot more upper belts now, probably, than
yeah. Well,
when you
so
first started.
when we first started, Matt and Heidi were purple.
Yeah.
They were purple belts, and I'm like, I'm a higher belt now than when they opened their own gym.
Yeah,
That's
that's
wild to
wild.
me. It's like, could I have done this? Probably not.
Absolutely not.
But
I couldn't.
I know. Well, one day Trevor goes, but you know more now. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you know more now than they did at Purple. And I'm like, do I? And he goes, you do. And I was like, maybe. And that's probably true. But, they were teaching brand new people and they learned as they went. And it's interesting to think about how many classes of track and roll did we do? How many classes of um, guard break, the same guard break. And then that armbar, Michaela can testify to this. Matt teaches the armbar the same way all the time. And he's like, you
Mhm.
take a big bite out of the back, you push the head away. I taught it at kids class the night before he did it last week, said all the exact same words. I was like, oh my God, I turned into Matt. But it's funny to me that Yeah, we could open a gym. Do I want to? No. Takes more than just knowing jiu-jitsu, but we have the skill set. So I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
wild
that's
out
wild.
here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I am curious, like, because like you said, like everybody, just because you're skill does not mean that you are able to operate a business, a
Right,
jujitsu
right.
business at that. There's a lot that goes into it. And I know we were talking a lot about adults while you also have heavily worked with the kiddos. Not just like, the 28 years that you had prior in your experience working with children, but like, what's been your experience working with the kiddos of jujitsu and like seeing their journey? Because that's a pretty unique thing to kind of see of like kids coming in. They're obviously a little developmental, or like just developmentally where they tend to grow or where they go within a year, and then those kids become teens. I did hear
Yeah.
Michaela said like you were the one they're scared of if they got to get checked.
Yeah. Well, that's because Julian and Ben are afraid to say stuff to him. So
Dang.
I'm the one that was always like, no, we're not doing that. And then yeah. But well, like Jax, he started as a third grader. He's a ninth grader now. It's
Dang.
wild to me. And so it's kind of cool to see them do that sort of stuff. But then, I mean, we've seen kids that are just come in raw talent. We're like, that kid's going to be really, really good. And then you have kids who are like, they're never going to get it. They're still, I mean, come on, that's true, Michaela. But they're having fun. Most of them are having fun. And what I like about it, and it's the same with adults too, they come in and they all of a sudden are best friends. They've never met each other in their lives, and they're best friends now. It's like, oh, hey, are you new? Let's go roll around on the ground together. And to me, it's so interesting to see the way they're the same as us, but also different. Like we always do find a partner and we're like, I don't want to partner with that guy. Or that guy over there's the smelly geek guy or whatever. And so you like grab someone you're comfortable with, whatever. These kids all just get up and run in circles until they find the partner. And I'm like, I just kind of want to see adults do that, but we probably never will. But they all, just watching them go from, I don't want to touch anyone to, all right, let's choke somebody it's weird, but it's super cool. It really is. So, but yeah, like honestly, Jax has been there the longest. And well, I mean, Carl's kids, but they're so in and out. But
Mm-hmm.
Jax has been there the longest, and it's pretty cool to see his development. So
Nice.
Yeah, he's grown
well,
now.
I know.
What's he like? What is he? 12 or 13?
No, he's a ninth grader, so he's 14.
14.
Oh, dang.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he still will climb up on my shoulders and sit there like he did when he was 9, and it cracks me up. I'm like, why are you sitting on me? Oh, no. Okay. And when he was little, I always thought he was just looking for attention. And it's probably still the same. He's the third kid, but I was like, all right. But yeah, he's still doing the same stuff. But at the same time, he's progressed so much. He knows a lot of jujitsu, and you just tease him but he's small. So when he comes to adult class, he feels awkward and stuff. But once he's in his full size body, he's going to be something else.
Yeah. Soaking up that knowledge young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang. Well, I'm curious. Do you have any other questions on your end, Michaela? Because I kind of shot through all of mine.
Yeah, I was wondering, how'd you handle burnout? Like a few months back when you were feeling burnt out with jujitsu and everything, what did you do to work through that?
I don't even know. It was weird because I was and that was another thing you guys did in your podcast, like right around the same time. I'm like, bro, what are you
Mm,
reading me? But
Yeah.
I I one day was like, I just don't even want to be here. And I was talking to Levi. You gotta talk to the 24-year-old, whatever he is, 25. And if he brings you the knowledge, he's like, you got to get out of it, dude. You got to take a break. You have to. You need to want to come back. And he's like, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. And I'm like, well, I got kids class. And he goes, so go to kids class and leave. And I did that for about a week. And I was like, when I would leave, I felt awkward, not because I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, but because I wasn't seeing my friends. And but he was right. I needed to just basically get out of my head because I had the tournament coming up. I had Vegas coming up. He's like, if you're burned out when you get to Vegas, it's gonna suck. And I'm like, okay. And so I was like, all right, I'll try it. Let's see what happens. And then I came to Sunday class. Since I unlock on Sunday, I have to be there. And I was contemplating just, oh, you don't have to do Sunday. You can just open the door and chill. And it's like, no, I'm ready. Let's go. I get all dressed out. And so honestly, just taking that week break helped. It was like, and then I noticed when I got home, I was like, wait, what do I do now? And it was again back to there's nothing else to do. I should be at jiu-jitsu. So it was, I don't know what made the difference. I think just that 1 week away made me feel like I needed to be back. So
Sometimes that's all all it takes.
yeah,
And acknowledging that and not forcing yourself. It's just like, like we're paying to do this. It's not something that you want to like feel like you're being forced, but there's also going to be time. I'm not ecstatic or happy all the time to be going to jiu-jitsu. It's also just something that it's just built into my routine. And it's also just good, like you mentioned earlier, right? That sense of community, that sense of family. And sometimes it's more so just to get out of the damn house, to be with people, even if you're not training maybe well or how you want to train that particular week. Maybe you're not even rolling, right? You're just coming in and drilling, but like still just being a presence to kind of help with that burnout. Like I know that's helped me. And you're going to have ebbs and flows of it. You're going to be burnt out at different times. Like expect it.
Right.
Yeah. Nikki, when you compete, what's your mindset going into competition? Are you just excited? Or like what's your thought process before stepping on the mat?
Like I usually just try to completely clear my brain, and that's why you'll see me with my headphones just jamming out, listening to music, getting the hype music going, that sort of stuff. But then I just okay, get out there, do your best, and the Carlisms start popping. Be first, blah blah blah. Don't be weak. Get out there, fight, blah. And so I like, for some reason, a thing that he put into my head was you run out there. So I've been doing that. And then it was funny because at Vegas, I noticed a couple of the other girls were doing it too. So I'm like, okay, we all got this weird mindset now, whatever. But it was, I just try not to think about anything. And a lot of the songs I have um in my fight day playlist are like believe in yourself type stupid, cheesy, but fun that I can jam to. And then I turn on different songs that are like, okay, this is the one, and I'll like play that one over and over when I get to it, and then I'll just go in there and have that song going in my head the whole time. So
Oh, that's
it's all
awesome.
right. So all I think about is music and then go. So
yeah. Do you think that's finding your flow state?
probably, yeah, because I'm not thinking about anything about except for whatever song that I wanted, and then being first, and then if I'm flying through the air ready to slam into the ground because I wasn't first, all right, that happened, and then just what do I do now? I don't think about what I do now. I just do it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that you love competing. Like I didn't know this till a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting because a lot of
Yeah.
people like competing makes them like anxious or nervous, or it's
Right.
hard for a lot of people. So I think it's awesome that it's something that you really enjoy and it
Yeah.
excites you.
Yeah, I wish there were more chances to compete, but especially
Mm-hmm.
ones that don't cost me hundreds of dollars. I
Yeah.
mean, in the case of Vegas, you're hitting the thousands, you know, you're like, this sucks, but it's always a good time and it's worth it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
It
Yeah.
can be a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
I wish we could
yeah,
find more people for you to
yeah,
compete with.
yeah,
Like, I
me
wish there
too.
was more groups out there where we could connect and figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah, Julian's like, come to Subspectrum. And then I'll look and there's no one. And I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't drive to Iowa. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, hey, you and Michaela, like you're one and the same when it comes to competing. Like you both kind of thrive on the competition. Like I said, I'm envious of the non-nerves.
right.
Um, I get nervous. I just get so internal. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell am I doing right now?
Well, like, and for me, part of it was I don't want to make, I know I keep saying Matt, but I don't want Matt to look bad because I suck or whatever.
Dang.
So you get out there and you're like, okay. But yeah, so sometimes you get that in your head, like, that usually happens like the week of. Okay, you can't embarrass your family. Get out there and do work. I mean, that comes back to like watching Cowboy Cerrone getting his butt beat in front of his kids. You know, so, so to me, if I get beat and Matt's sitting there, I just got beat in front of my jiu-jitsu parent. You know, so it's like I don't want to disappoint my family. I need to get out there and do it. So. I mean, come on, you know that was bad, but
I mean,
yeah,
that is true.
you just don't want to disappoint your people. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
And the
I usually
reality of
get
the
that
situation is that they're not.
they don't care.
They're
They really don't
disappointed that
care.
you're disappointed in yourself is usually
Right?
what it is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's for sure. The only one
Yeah.
that'll actually be disappointed in you is Carl, and I don't think he really is. He just wants to smack you around. You should have done better. Why'd you do this? But I mean, you get stuff from that too. It's the winner learns thing, and you learn a
Mm-hmm.
lot, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's hard though.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you get anxious in college throwing?
I
Like, did
did
that
that.
bother you?
Well, that's what led me into going into mental health therapy for my master's.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just I always put so much pressure on myself, because of
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I didn't want to disappoint anybody, my coaches. My scholarship money was also like based off of my performance. So it's like,
Yeah.
right, competing to like
Mhm.
make sure I can like pay my rent next year and still be able to do what I like to do. And it was one of those things like for practice I'd be hitting personal records. I mean, I was just so relaxed. And it would just be like in competition, like in warm-ups, if I was just a little bit off, like it would literally just throw me off the rest of the competition. And it was so annoying, and
Mhm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was and it wasn't, to me, it wasn't a situation where it was like, yeah, you could say it directly of like sports psychology, like, yeah, my performance, but that's really not what it was for me. And it, like, I was more so curious about the holistic aspect of like what's leading me like to put so much pressure on myself, even though people are telling me this, like, where is this insecurity coming from and whatnot. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's always been like a lot of eyes too. I like to just kind of like, I don't want you looking at me, don't perceive me kind of thing. Which is probably also why I like track and field and tennis, like stuff like that. Like, not a big crowd, and I like playing basketball, but I don't want to play in front of a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've worked through that, but it's still a progression kind of thing. I was a lot better this year at Worlds. I think, like I said,
Nice.
meditation. Yeah,
Yeah.
meditation
Oh,
really
that's awesome.
helped. Just kind of accepting the anxiety. Do you want to be a cheetah or a gazelle? You know, I chose cheetah energy, even though I had rabies on me. It's fine. It's fine. But I think that's right. That's normal too. You know, natural anxiety, and it's figuring out like how to use it and how to use that energy versus like it being used against me. So,
Yeah, I don't think I figured it out until college. And that was just through rowing because we raced so many times and racing was just hard and practice was harder though. So racing was kind of fun because practice was so hard. But I think having many races is what helped prep me into like leading into competition. Like I don't really get nervous. I still get nervous, but it's not as bad as maybe in high school because I think my rowing experience helped prep me to go through, I don't know, just to figure out what gets me into the right flow state for a competition. And I'm wondering, like Nikki, with all your swimming meets, I wonder if that's something that helped prepare you for that too, like just going out there and racing a ton.
Yeah, because it was the same thing. Practice was way harder. You're like, oh, jump in this pool and swim in your sweats. Yeah, that's heavy. And then
what?
I'm drowning.
and then you just have to go across the pool real quick at a meet. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go do this real quick. So you just do it, and then yeah, and then the sitting around, and I do this at jiu-jitsu tournaments too, the sitting around. All right, social hour, let's go. And so, oh, it's my turn now. I'll see you in a minute, and run over and do my thing and then run back, Um it I think, yeah, just the exposure to so much competing and stuff. It was definitely helpful.
Yeah. You said get up and do it. You just got to put
Yeah.
yourself in the situation.
Yeah, you got to stress yourself out
You
to
do.
be able to compete under stress.
Build your tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also comes from like that confidence in self too. Like the more confident you are, like I know I could protect myself, right? It's like, or I'm at least going to do my best. Like I know I'm confident in these particular kinds of positions, and whatnot. And I know even though I don't like it, I'm okay if I lose. Like it's not the end of the world. I'll get through it. It's fine. And most of the time, that's where my biggest takeaways have been, is because of losses and because they came from competition. It's like that's literally given me like a year plus of stuff to work on based off one competition.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, losing sucks, but we learn every time.
I was like, I think it was Henry the other day that went all philosophical at kids' class, and he's like, yeah, but I've been learning a lot lately. And I'm like, oh, buddy. but he went deep into it in the middle of, we had the line to leave class, and he just started going, yeah, you learn a lot, especially when you lose. He's just talking about losing and learning, and we're all just like, okay, all right. But
yeah,
that was like his black belt speech for his gray belt. But it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a smart kid.
He really is.
Well,
Deja, come to kids class.
No. I'm gonna go off on a kid. I might, like I think I would. Like I told them like 3 times and they didn't do it that 4th time. I'm gonna be matter of fact and tell them all about themselves.
Oh no, yeah.
Give me the little ones.
Libra energy.
I am.
Those are the annoying ones. The little ones. Put your hand there and they give you their elbow and you're like, that's not a hand.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can do kids from like neck support to 2 and then 18. Yeah, because before neck support, it gets a little dicey. Like I'm gonna need you to have a little bit of like neck strength to come up. Because if you're just sitting there like this while I'm trying to hold you, I don't feel confident in that.
Strong neck babies.
Only babies I'm trying to be around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have a question. I had a question for Nikki in regard to your opinion. I know you've been listening, but you actually haven't given us your feedback on this. What is your thought on chokers and conscious walkers?
It's after you said that. I actually heard that part today. I finished up that episode today, and I was like, "Wait, we have names? I don't know about
Why
all
wouldn't
this."
we?
Like, I don't know. It's Conscious Walkers sounds like some kind of weird sci-fi movie.
That's right.
And then chokers, all I can think of is the 90s little black chokers that people wore. I don't like it.
Hey.
I don't know. I don't know. It sounds weird to me.
Dang. All right. Leave it up to Nikki to give you the truth. I'm still
Well,
kind of
you
feeling it. I'm still kind of feeling
right.
it. I don't know. Michaela, where are you at with this?
I don't know. I also kind of feel a little weird giving a name to people that listen to us. But I think it's fun. I think conscious walkers and chokers, I think it's kind of fun. But
So
it's up to them, not us.
that's true. But when we start
That's fair.
getting merch, right? You start putting out that merch. You're going to want to be labeled in one of the gang. You're one of the peeps.
Well, then have people, when they like, comment, and subscribe, have them comment what they want to be called.
That's right. You're right. We activated comments on YouTube just because of Nikki, because she was tired of not being able to fact check us.
Just texting you doesn't work as well.
It doesn't.
But
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, we need that feedback.
Yeah, just put it up there. Maybe someone will come up with something that sounds cool.
Nikki does not like conscious walkers or chokers.
All right.
The chokers one is real bad. The conscious walkers, I'm like, okay.
All right. Okay. We're trying.
I feel like you're going to get the wrong crowd with the name chokers.
Or maybe it's the right crowd. Okay.
I mean, maybe a bunch of Scorpios or something, but
hey, as long as you're listening out there, we welcome all. As long as you're listening out there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's right. Okay, well, Michaela, do you have any other questions before we get to, I know Nikki probably got to get some Z's here.
Yeah, just a couple.
Yeah.
Nikki, do you have a favorite athlete or anybody you're inspired by?
My favorite athlete of all time is Dennis Rodman.
Let's go, enforcer.
But yeah, I mean, inspired by a lot of people. Honestly, I don't really look to athletes necessarily for inspiration. Just more inspiration by people around me and stuff. Like, I'll see people do stuff and I'm like, that's freaking cool. And I don't know. I just take inspiration from people I know. But yeah, I love sports. I mean, baseball is my first sport love, but I love most sports. So,
what's your favorite? Jiu-Jitsu?
Baseball.
Oh, yeah, you just said that. My bad.
I mean, I love Jiu-Jitsu, but if it was a Jiu-Jitsu match or a baseball game, I'd watch the baseball game. Not gonna lie. So,
okay, baseball watcher.
Love it. Just smart person's game.
You right.
Baseball?
It is.
Compared to Jiu-Jitsu?
I mean, not compared, but yeah, there's so many people that hate baseball because they think it's boring, but
That's true.
When you learn it, it's not boring anymore, which is the same as Jiu-Jitsu. My mom's like, I don't understand that this is boring. And I'm like, well, if you understood it, it wouldn't be boring. So,
yeah, that's a good
Jiu-Jitsu
point.
gets like that. And like you see the black belts, all they're doing is like hand fighting. That's boring as hell if you don't know why they're doing it. Because as soon as they get a hold of you, it's over. And so, yeah, I can see why that would be boring. So, yeah, I think sometimes people just think things are boring because they don't get it. So, I don't know.
That makes sense. I
Yeah.
need to study up on my baseball.
It's all about the pitching.
Not always, but yeah. Sam and I will talk baseball all the time after class. So, but
My dad's a big baseball dude too.
All right, one last question, Nikki. Do you have a favorite stage in your jiu-jitsu journey or a favorite belt? Like white to brown?
I think honestly, I like blue belt a lot. I competed so much at that level. You start knowing stuff. You see stuff. You're not, like you said, you're not necessarily good at it, but you understand it. And I think that was probably my favorite belt. And um, you start learning so much more at that level. And then purple's pretty cool too, but that's when I stopped getting as many competitions. So that's why it shades me a little bit. But blue into purple is great. About where you are right now, honestly, that was probably the best. You feel like you're learning so much, and you would see moves that you've done a million times in the year or two beforehand that you all of a sudden it makes sense, and you're like, oh, I get it now.
That is something cool that I've been seeing. It is awesome.
Exactly.
When it clicks, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The journey.
Yeah, the journey.
Sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love how different everybody's is, but we're all like in it together, going through the same. It's not the same, but it kind of is the same.
Yeah, it's just you're heading the same direction.
It just looks different for people.
Yep.
All right. Well, Nikki's giving us some juicy tidbits with her jiu-jitsu journey and everything going on that you have been through in training, the challenges. And as we talked about earlier, kind of like, part of that inspiration for our Zen talk is, and just the energy that's going around right now. I know a lot of people feeling uncertain. That happens too in your jiu-jitsu journey. Things happen, or maybe you've plateaued, or you feel like you're stagnant. Where is this going? I'm uncertain on where my black belt journey goes, or I'm uncertain about this new job, right? Because that's also been something that Nikki has also had to, like a major career transition that we didn't go all the way into, but said you worked with children for 28 years and up and deviated to a different career path, right? So our Zen talk today is just in regard to redefining self in the face of uncertainty. So, like, when do you know you need to switch things up, change course? Usually stems from challenges and all of that good stuff. So, like, Nikki, you can get us started on this. Like, I'm curious, like, how do you deal with uncertainty? Like, how do you, like Michaela brought up burnout and whatnot. We've talked about it, like training, right? Adding new things to your training, like switching up stuff with job, career, just even personal stuff that you have going on. When do you know when to switch things up for yourself? What does that look like for you? What's that process?
That's really hard. I'm like, now I feel like I'm on the couch getting
That's right.
But no, it's a hard thing. You have to trust yourself because, okay, switching jobs, for example, what's this person going to think? What's that person going to think? Like I said, I taught for 28 years. What, what are people going to think now that I'm not teaching? Am I disappointing people? I went to school for this. But at the same time, it was like, I can't do it anymore. So you have to trust what you think, and that's hard for people pleasers. I mean, you're like, well, what if they're disappointed that I'm not doing this anymore? But yeah, at a certain point, you have to decide what's best for you, not what's best for the others, what's best for you. And for me, that was I just had to get out of there, and so I did, and kind of saw an ad and said, okay, I'll fill this out, and off I went. So I don't know. You just sometimes it it just comes to you, and you're lucking out. But it's that energy, like you said, put it out there, and then something's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. What about you, Michaela? Like, what about for you? Like, what do you like for yourself? What does that look like? Feel like where you're like, okay, I need to add this on. I need to change course.
I think like I just can tell there hasn't been growth. Usually is that's when I'm like, oh, I need to make a change, or I need to do something different, or change up my routine. It's usually when I'm stagnant, and I'm tired of being stagnant. Like it's just it after some time it gets, I don't know, it's just too much. It's like, hey, I'm not learning, I'm not moving, and I'm getting really tired of just sitting here. So I need to make a switch and figure out what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and make changes. But I think, like, for me, it's kind of an energy thing too. Like I can feel like, hey, this is a chance I need to take, or this is some, like just a different path that I need to try to go down, or see what else is available. Because yeah, I don't like getting stagnant. I don't like staying there too long because I'm like it starts eating at me.
mhm.
Yeah, 100%. It's hard, right? And like both of you had said, there's uncertainty in there, right? That's the main
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's like you don't know what this new thing or this deviation of plan is going to look like, what my interaction, what these new people are going to think about me, or how this new move is going to work within my jujitsu and my body type. But the point of it is, people get so stuck on, I don't know for sure what this is going to look like, what it's going to feel like. So then they'll remain stagnant, or they'll remain
Mm-hmm.
stuck, or continuing to do the same things and the same, and upset that they're getting the same results, or they feel stuck. And I don't have any other options. Nobody necessarily said the option or what you're going to do is going to be better,
Right.
but it's going to be different. And that's the point of going through uncertainty, is like, I'm accepting that this is different. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
accept this uncertainty, because if I don't, I'm going to continue to remain in the same space that I'm in all aspects and areas of my life. Right? Nikki's uncertain about how this increase in assertiveness might look, but she's going to push
Right.
herself and want us to push her to be a little more assertive. But that's a new thing. Like I said, you were working with children for 28 years and going to a completely different job setting. That was uncertain. Going through major surgery, like trying to get back on the mats. It's the first time you've gone through this in jujitsu and whatnot. Again, like that was uncertain, but everybody, like, like for you too, Michaela, it's like having that self-awareness of like, okay, I'm not going to have that keep me down. I'm not going to have this, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in charge of how I show up. And it's just really, it can be really challenging for people not to have a guaranteed answer, but that's just not the case.
Mm.
Yeah. Usually I look for the room to grow. Like if there's no more room to keep moving, it's time to move on and change it up. At least that's how I've been with like jobs and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, all right, I'm not going to stay stagnant for long. Not giving me the raise, I'm moving on.
that's right. Too good for you, hoes.
For sure. If you can do that, that's awesome because I mean, it took me every time I'd apply for something in the company that's better, and then they'd be like, but you're really good at this, and they'd keep me there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard, but for me, it's really hard. I'm like, oh, okay, well, they said I was good, I better stay, But
Mm-hmm.
eventually, like you said, there's no room. or they're not giving you the room, and there's no way to take it. So yeah, that's helpful
Dang.
to just move on
Be
if you can.
assertive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yep.
with jobs too, if you're a good worker, they'll take advantage of that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hate that.
They will. You give them a
Yeah.
little, they'll take a mile, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I think it's also like the second part that I had here too is like, and like how you redefine or restructure, just you accept the uncertain. Nobody said you weren't scared or you didn't have all these other feelings, right? Multiple
Mm-hmm.
feelings going on, and you're still in control of how you show up. And I think kind of like we've touched on multiple down. I'm a full believer in the holistic approach, right? Like we've talked in the past about Michaela. It's like, yeah, physically I could be doing well, but mentally maybe I'm checked out or I'm not patient and that's affecting this. And emotionally I feel some type of way and all of that. So if you
Mm-hmm.
think about like, what does it look like to continue being self-aware of, like I've say, like your zones, right? Like what's my physical, my mental, emotional zone? Like what am I doing? What does that plan, that personal stability plan look like to me? For me personally, yeah, I am a therapist and definitely need to be getting myself back into some therapy because therapists need therapists too. It's just a good thing to have. Um, but for me, it's like being around family, it's being around friends, right? Friends are family, the community, making sure that I'm checking myself, knowing what boundaries I need to be having with myself, trying to push myself maybe to assert more boundaries in certain areas if I need to. And like one of my number one things is finding joy, find a laugh, somewhere. I think physically, like how I pay attention to that, making sure I'm working out, right? Like making sure I'm taking care of my body, being gracious, knowing when, kind of things. And emotionally, just give myself space to feel whatever I'm gonna feel, and not having those emotions run me in whatever multiple areas that I have going on. And knowing that I have really good people around me uh, who can support and challenge me to be able to just kind of be a better person. So, like, what are those like? What are some of that looks like for you? Like, how do y'all hone in on those different zones? How do you continue to strengthen those zones of, for you, your personal stability plan, so to speak?
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
right.
hard question. I go to therapy.
Yes, awesome, as
but
everyone should.
but honestly, yeah, for me, I'm like Michaela said, I do journal still. So I have, yes, I have a weightlifting journal or whatever, or you know, uh, exercise, I would say, because it also has jiu-jitsu in it and stuff. But I also have a regular journal that I write down things like that, where like what's happening and why, and I'll go back and read it because I do stream of consciousness a lot, and I'm like, just start writing, and then you're like, okay, now what happened? So yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to change sucks. It really
Mhm.
does.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's it's hard, but like you said, you don't say, I know it's gonna happen. I know it might it might be worse. You never know. But
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you gotta try something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, stagnant's bad.
Mhm.
Change is hard, but it's not always bad. Most of the time it's good.
Mhm. Yeah,
You're
I don't
I
know.
right.
think I think I try to stay positive, and that's what kind of keeps me all together. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just try to look at things or go approach things positively, because if you,
Mhm.
or at least like if you, so like at work, I have some coworkers that they start hating their job, and then they start, that spreads,
Yeah,
and
it
they'll start
does.
like talking to me every day, like, oh, I hate coming here, doing this, whatever. And then like I've done this before too, where I'll start thinking negatively about my job, and then I'm starting to hate it more than, I mean, I don't hate it, but like that it drags you down and it can really get to you, and that affects other areas of my life too. If I'm negative here, then I'll carry that over. So I just try to shut out that negativity, and try to look at things in an optimistic way, and know that like things are good, like I'm good, I'm healthy, I'm taking care of myself. Don't get caught up on things you can't control. Just do me and stay positive with it. And I stretch and stuff too. Like I try to take care of myself, like physically. I need to eat better, but just being aware, I think, is a big thing.
It
Being
is.
aware and positive.
Hell yeah. We love to hear it. It's all about your mindset, right? Approaching things, like you said, controlling what you can control, calling yourself out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and again, and being soft with yourself. Like, you don't need to beat yourself up for things. Like, yeah, I could have, like, my nutrition could be better, and at the same time, again, it's a journey. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you just own it.
Yeah, own it.
That's right. Well, before I get to our quote, do you both have anything else to add with that?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, our quote that we like to end things with in regard to uncertainty here, this one would be fitting. So, learning to live with ambiguity is learning to live with how life really is, full of complexities and strange surprises. James Hollis. Sit with it.
All right.
I'm going to read it back another time. One more again. I always hit you with bow bow. So, again, learning to live with ambiguity is learning to live with how life really is, full of complexities and strange surprises. James Hollis. This is what life is, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not predictable.
I mean, I can't argue with it. It's definitely. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's legit. I mean, it's a good point.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think even in jiu-jitsu, I can know more than likely somebody is going to fall to their right. I might not know how said person is going to fall though. There's no, right? Like I set up my my sweep here. Well, it looks like this. There's no guarantee it's going to look exactly like it. Might be a little ugly, you know? But that's it's just going to be on there can be uncertainty and certainty. And the most important thing is don't get stagnant, be assertive, boundaries for yourself, and embrace the challenge.
You just unlocked something for me.
Oh, snap. Let Nikki and I in on what we just unlocked for you.
Like knowing I'm going to make this person fall to their right, like planning that ahead. Like having that much detail to knowing or not knowing, but knowing, oh, I'm going to make this happen because I want to go this direction.
Yeah.
I haven't figured out the left and rights yet. I don't know. Kind of wild.
Oh, snap. That's what it is.
Yeah, I want to know how many steps ahead you guys are in thinking compared to like my thought process. It has to be crazy. Taking like your blue belt brain compared to your brown belt brain.
Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like when I think about it, I'm like, do I really know any like because you know a whole bunch of stuff right now. I guess it's the application, it's the mat time, it's the experience. It's like I've done this so many times. This is how different body types or bodies have ended up. And I know this is not always how it's looked like, but it's been within this particular concept.
Yeah. The other day at 6 a.m., like I said, there's a lot of white belts. I rolled with a couple of different people, and they both were like, "Oh, every time I do something, you already know I'm gonna do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "How do you get that?" And I'm like, "Oh, you'll get it. Don't worry." But I mean, yeah, we don't notice that we're doing it. because we've been doing it so long. So, yeah, we're thinking ahead, but we don't necessarily notice. And then, then you go with someone like Rich, who also is a 6 a.m. person. He's a black belt. There's a reason. He's even farther ahead than I am. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm falling now. And sometimes I know I'm gonna fall, but he knew before I do.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it gets there.
Wild out here in these streets. Michaela's little brown belt brain is going to be crazy here in a few years.
I know, right? Right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Well, dang, Nikki, how do you feel? Well, I mean, we made it through our first ever guest.
I feel fine.
What was it like being on the pod?
Everything's fine.
All right.
After the interview.
No, it's good.
I feel fine. All right, cool. Thanks.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I talk to you guys when I'm watching it anyway. So same thing. You just hear me this time.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. So I know I've appreciated you joining us. Let Michaela bring you on for our first one.
Yeah.
And getting the people exposed to you so they can know a little more. Like, I know I learned a little bit more that I didn't know about you.
Yeah, same here. Well,
it was fun for sure.
Yeah. So real quick, if you want to, you don't have to, but what's the YouTube handle in case some peeps want to check out some matches of yours? Do you know off the top of your head? Is it just Nikki May on YouTube?
Nah, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's X Punk Rock Mom X. Just like my email.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what it is. I can't. Yeah. I'd have to look through, but yeah, that's what it is on Instagram. All that stuff. That's what my thing is.
So. All right. Nice. So if you want to check out Nikki's stuff, Nikki's matches and whatnot, that's letter X, not X like your ex boo. Punk Rock Mom X at gmail.com.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Michaela, you have anything else to add on that before we wrap up episode 17?
No, just thanks, Nikki, for being our first guest.
Thanks for having me. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And episode 17. I'm so amazed, Deja. I'm like 17 weeks in a row we've been doing this. That's
We've been pumping these out.
It's awesome.
It is. It's cool. Good job.
Thanks, Nikki.
Appreciate it. Yes. Well, yeah, I know. Yeah, we're super proud of us. We're excited to continue going. We clearly will be having some more guests on since Nikki has broken the seal now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll go from there. Again, this is Nikki, stay on for a hot second after we get done. But this is Chokes and Consciousness again with episode 17. This is Deja.
This is Michaela.
And Nikki.
I guess I'm Nikki.
We appreciate y'all again. We will be talking to you next week. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.